In our thriller opening, we develop some forms and conventions of a classy thriller, but we also challenge conventions to make our opening unique. For example, we used a grey-haired man and a slick vintage car, which is reminiscent of Alfred Hitchcock in classic thrillers. In fact, it was Hitchcock who created some of the typical conventions of a thriller through his movies like Psycho and Vertigo. In editing our opening, we also darken the shots, increasing the contrast and bringing out the shadows. This is also typical of a thriller like Seven, where the overall picture is darker with low-key lighting as a means of creating a gloomy and mystic atmosphere. We also use forms of a typical thriller by using parallel editing. This allows two things to happen at once, where both scenes that are edited like this build up slowly to create suspense. On the other hand, we also challenge typical thrillers' conventions. For instance, the song we use for our thriller is an upbeat, jazzy folk song, which unlike most thrillers, confuses one into thinking the movie may not be a thriller as a result of the song, but this is of course till the end of the opening, where it is unveiled that our grey-haired character is no ordinary man. This incongruous use of music puts the audience in a state of relaxation, but this is soon overturned by the shock at the end of the opening. The only character of our thriller that's presented in our opening sequence is a white middle-aged man, who is seen driving his slick car and tidying his house. For the most of the thriller, one can't tell much about him, apart from the fact that he is upper class and educated, as a result of several things. For example, he looks professional and well-dressed. He has a couture coat, glasses, and has slick grey hair. He also has a nice vintage car and a subtlety to his behaviour. By using an affluent urban antique dealer as our protagonist, and three young drug dealers as the victim, our thriller goes contrary to society's stereotypes. The victims, who are dealers in my thriller, are punished far more worse than they deserve to be by a psychopath in a slick disguise. As we are student filmmakers, and this is our first picture, we do the best to make our name, rather than making money necessarily. To do this, we will make the movie available to the public on YouTube and Vimeo for free. Along with this, we will be submitting our film to several film festivals, which include the Tribeca Film Festival, the Art House Film Festival, and even Cannes Festival, although that will be quite hard to get our movie submitted into. Lastly, we will also contact Film 4 and BBC to help us distribute our movie on television, on the basis of whether or not they enjoy our movie and if they think it is suitable for them to show on their channels. The genre of our thriller is a crime thriller, and therefore our opening sequence targets those who enjoy movies of this genre. So our thriller opening also comes from my treatment of Speechless, which could be considered almost ideal for a film noir style thriller, due to certain aspects of our idea. For example, there's a psychopathic murderer undercover as a normal salesman, and our opening sequence has a lot of low-key lighting, darkened colours, increased contrast, just as a film noir style film would. Thus, I believe this would target those who enjoy a film noir style movie. Furthermore, since we have challenged some conventions whilst using some conventions of a typical thriller, we have created an opening sequence that would appeal not only to those who enjoy a typical crime thriller, but also to those who are into niche films due to the uniqueness and the style of our opening. From the process of constructing our thriller opening, I have learnt a lot of what is needed to be known for editing. Not only can I now simply cut and put the footage together with ease, I can also adjust the sound, increasing or lowering the volume, making sounds fade in and out, etc. I can also add titles with different fonts, blurring them in and out. I can adjust the light of each shot, increasing the contrast, darkening the colours, adding translucent colours over the shots, and I can also adjust the speed of the shot, slowing it down or speeding it up basically. For our preliminary task, I was very basic still in my skills with using the camera. Like, I didn't even know how to turn on the flashlight or turn it off, how to even start filming. It was very bad. But now I know how to use it perfectly basically. I think one of the most important things I've learned since the preliminary task is that making your camera angles and shots unique is key. When watching opening sequences of past students, sometimes it can come off as too typical of a thriller, when the tropes of an average thriller are already visible in the first 2 minutes. Individuality is key. It's what gives one's opening some energy to catch the eye not only of the examiner but of anyone watching. Of course, using the conventions of a thriller is needed and very important. An opening that involves this but lacks individuality may end up as decent or good, but not striking. What I wanted to achieve in my opening sequence was an integration of conventions of the thriller and some of my ideas, which I believe are unique, to create balance. Aside from this, I also think that I have learned to work better in a team. At the stage of the preliminary task, I believe sometimes I maybe was a bit too much of a control freak and wanted everything to be done my way. But now I realise the importance of teamwork, the discussion of ideas from more than one party to construct a better outcome, and the help you can provide each other. This for me works better than trying to control everything myself and being in a bit of a mess sometimes as a result of not having a team to back you up and help you get organised.